that point. This is to the point of literally life.
Yep. It will go down as one of the worst storms ever.
Hundreds are without power, millions of dollars in damage has been done, and several lives have been lost around the state, all from what will be called the Great Halloween Storm of 1991. Good evening, I'm Beth Bednar.
And I'm Jim Taylor. This weekend's blizzard has taken its first life in this area. 73-year-old Pansy Nelson of Albert Lea was found dead in her home Friday. Freeborn County coroner says that Nelson died of cold exposure caused by Friday's power outages. There have been 6 other fatalities statewide as a result of the storm.
A Grand Meadow man is in critical condition after being found this morning out in the cold. Police say Lloyd Brent was taken to St. Mary's Hospital in Rochester after being found passed out in his garage. Brent was apparently working on one of the milk trucks he drives. It is still unknown how long he was out in the cold before being found. We will have an update on what happened and his condition as soon as it becomes available. Well, massive power outages continue to leave thousands of folks out in the cold tonight.
News Center 6's Rick Bussler is standing by live at the Freeborn Moore Electric Company in Albert Lea to give us an update on the outages there. Rick?
Well, Jim and Beth, many folks have returned to the comforts of having a warm home, but there's still thousands of people who are spending their 4th night in the dark and cold. Now, area power companies have been pulling long shifts trying to repair power lines that have been snapped in half like toothpicks from this weekend's ice storm. The countryside is still littered with dozens of downed power lines. Now, for Freeborn Moore Electric Company, this has been command central since Friday. Crews are dispatched out of this office to take care of some of the problems that have come up by customers calling in. And joining us now to give us an update of what's happened is Ron Steckman, the general manager. What's the progress that you can report tonight?
Well, Rick, we're pleased that today we probably have gotten another 800 customers restored to service, and hopefully tomorrow will be another good day and we'll add another 1,000 customers to receive service.
Any idea how long this is going to keep going on?
Well, it's a very difficult situation because there's so much transmission down and so much distribution pole damage that probably by the end of the week things will begin to look a little better.
Now, I think a lot of people are kind of curious about how have you decided which lines you're putting up and who's getting power?
Well, we really don't have a great deal of decision to make in that regard because the transmission service is the key to restoring service. Without transmission service, the substations don't have power. Therefore, there isn't any service to the member. So as soon as the transmission service is restored, then we go out to those substations and start working on all our problems around the substation.
All right, thanks, Ron, and good luck to you as you try and get these outages back up. Now, Interstate Power, also based out of Albert Lea here, reports 4,000 outages tonight. That's down from 15,000 from the peak of the storm. And there's just scattered outages in the city of Albert Lea. Most of Interstate's outages have been reported, are still out in the outlying rural areas. And Austin Utilities reports 98% of their customers are back up tonight with power. And they're encouraging anybody who doesn't have power, they believe that there might be a few out there, to give them a call as soon as possible. And Jim and Beth, I guess the word tonight from Freeborn Moore Electric is it's been a long process and they're trying to get to people as quickly as possible. And I guess if there's one thing that they're asking of people is just to remain patient until they get to everybody.
Thank you, Rick. Sounds like the recovery process is still going to take some time.
I think that's the big question on everyone's mind throughout this ordeal. When is the power coming back?
That's right.
Well, whether those folks around Albert Lea will have power restored depends on the efforts of some very hard-working men. They are perhaps the most unsung of heroes throughout this ordeal. Bill Weir takes a look.
You sat in a cold, dark house the past few days praying for the power to come back. These are the men you've been praying for, the linemen. Their job keeps them out in this weather for 12 hours at a time, and it doesn't get any warmer 50 feet off the ground. If there's a shortage of warm fingers and toes, though, good spirits seem to be in plentiful supply.
Well, I wish it'd warm up about 30, 40 degrees.
Dozens of crews have found that if the pole isn't damaged, the plastic insulators are. And combined with the weather, it's no short task replacing them.
Well, as cold as it is, we've been all day getting this one up and getting this one stripped back down. So probably 8 hours, 9 hours, something like that.
Crews have assembled from all over to assist Albert Lea in restoring their power. These men left 75-degree temperatures in Indianapolis to help out. You can be assured that their trip here is well appreciated. In Albert Lea, Bill Weir, News Center 6.
Well, the extensive outage has left many in search of heat. Hundreds of people in the TV6 viewing area abandoned cold homes this past weekend for shelters. As Carla Johnson tells us, the area havens are wearing many hats.
The Red Cross shelter at the National Guard Armory is still housing people, but now it's taken on a new role.
This has become more of a central headquarters for obtaining food and then getting it cooked and hot food out to the rural areas. So,
And not only food, but some supplies as well.
yes, we are sending supplies. We have the National Guard unit is working on generators.
While we were visiting, National Guard members and the Freeborn County Sheriff's Department left to deliver a generator to Hullendale. The generator was needed to replenish the city's water supply. A Saturday night fire at a home owned by Lawrence Forrester in Hullendale destroyed the residence and drained the city's water.
Don Nolander, sheriff, called me this morning and said that he had available a generator. Were we interested? And I said yes, because we've never been able to get our water system back up since the fire we had Friday night. We lost about 20,000 gallons of water fighting that fire. And
This generator will be used to pump water into the tank. A good thing, considering power isn't expected to be restored here till Wednesday. Carla Johnson, News Center 6 in Hullendale.
If you need a ride to Albert Lea's Armory, you may call 373-4149 or 373-5914. In addition, Austin's Red Cross has announced a 24-hour shelter assistance number, and that is 437-4589.
We mentioned, of course, that electrical power is on everyone's mind tonight. So is the current weather situation and what may be in store for the next few days. Is this coming back?
Well, we might see some more snowfall tomorrow morning, perhaps, but nothing near like what we've seen. No freezing rain or sleet. So we're out in the clear for just a little while. A lot of records set by this storm, too, including snowfall records. We didn't see much here in southeastern Minnesota, but through southern Minnesota and central Minnesota. And there you see it, the darkest blue, 12 inches plus. Well, it got well over 12 inches, especially for Minneapolis-St. Paul. They set a record, 28.4 inches of snow for this megastorm. The old record was 20 inches, January 22nd and 23rd of 1982 is the most snow from a single storm. That was in January. This is in the end of October, beginning of November. The most snow coming on the first 18.5 inches in just that single day. So we didn't set any snowfall records around the TV6 viewing area, but we have been setting some temperature records.
And some ice records.
A lot of ice records and some low temperature and low high temperature records, if you understand exactly what I mean. The lowest maximum, the lowest high temperature for the 3rd was 14 this past couple of days. The old record was 26 in 1951. The lowest low temperature, a new record, was 4, beating the old record of 11. We also got a new low high temperature for today, beating an old record in the mid-20s from the 50s.
Thank you, Rob. And of course, you'll have more coming up in a few minutes.
Sleep forecast.
Thanks, Rob. Well, a disaster such as this brings out the very best and the worst in some people. A note now on the worst. Looters vandalized 5 Austin businesses Friday night and Saturday morning. 2 Austin men were caught by police as they allegedly were breaking into Sterling Drug. They are in jail and have yet to be charged.
Well, traveling is a nightmare for people trying to get from their house to places of safety or just to get out for supplies. People trying to get to the Twin Cities had to deal with more than 2 feet of snow. And through this area, the biggest problems have been stretches of ice-covered roads, not snow, and poor visibility, of course. State troopers say that most of the main roads are in fair driving condition now.
Minnesota transportation officials say the cost of cleaning up after this weekend's megastorm is now estimated at $3 million. And they say that figure is certain to go higher. The figure includes plowing, sanding, salting, and overtime for the MnDOT staff. In Iowa, Governor Terry Branstad has declared a state of emergency for some parts of the state, including 9 Iowa counties in the TV6 viewing area. And the bad weather has forced city elections scheduled throughout Worth County, Iowa tomorrow to be postponed until November 12th. Affected cities include Joyce, Kensett, Manly, and Northwood. And in Saragordo County, elections for the town of Swaledale will go on as planned tomorrow, but the voting site will be relocated from City Hall to a building with an emergency generator.
This weekend has been a wild one, to say the least. It's all seemed to happen so quickly and unexpectedly. Here's a quick look back now at how the events of the past 4 days have changed all our lives so dramatically. A fierce storm system that had already dumped feet of snow out west rolled into this area Thursday. But instead of snow, we got slush. Then as temperatures turned colder on Friday, the soupy mixture turned to ice. And that's when the electrical problem started.
And I looked down and I seen the wires just jumping 30 foot, or 60 foot, 30 foot up and 30 foot down, up and down in the air. All of a sudden the pole started breaking off like toothpicks, and they just went one after the other after the other.
Left without lights or heat, hundreds of people began streaming into shelters. Austin's St. Olaf Hospital was one of the few places with backup generators. It became a popular spot for the young and old.
I had no place to go.
What was your house like?
Cold, very cold, about 44.
St. Olaf also had lots of medical emergencies to deal with. Carolyn Eilertson and her family had to be given oxygen after they were fumed out of their house.
My husband looked at the vent on top of our house, and he thinks that the vent for the furnace was plugged over with ice.
They're hanging down or they're broken.
Power crews have been at work all weekend, mapping strategy and then funneling dozens of crewmen to the hardest hit areas. It's been no picnic for the men on the front line.
Cold and windy. Everything's downright close here.
Although most of the state got more snow than we did, Moore and Freeborn counties have suffered the most ice damage. The governor visited Austin and Albert Lea yesterday. He seemed amazed at what he saw.
I think I've seen damage to trees in that, but I've never experienced being without electricity for days. When we think of being without electricity, we think of it in terms of inconvenience. This is well beyond that point. This is to the point of literally life.
The governor did promise us yesterday there will be some state money and perhaps some federal money available to help people get back on their feet. He was not at all specific about how much money or exactly how the money would be used. So we'll have to wait and see probably later this week before we know anything about financial help.
And let's hope it comes through soon. You know, Mother Nature has a way of letting us know who's boss from time to time. I think we all realize how powerless we are in the face of a storm like this.
It's fun for maybe a couple of hours without electricity, but it gets old fast.
Yes, it does.
Well, there's more coverage straight ahead on this special edition of News Center 6.
A look now, or a look ahead, at how the towns hardest hit are coping with the disaster. We'll be back in a minute.
Brick Furniture in Austin and Albert Lea have just about everything you've ever wanted in furniture. Quality, style, affordability, and selection. Whether it's for your kitchen, dining, living, or bedroom, Brick Furniture has it all, and at a price to fit your pocketbook. Modern or early American, classical or contemporary, Brick Furniture will be able to assist you in finding just the perfect piece for your home. Stop in today. Brick Furniture in Austin and Albert Lea. Nice people, nice store.
It's easy to build the perfect stereo system at Best Buy. A receiver, a CD player, a cassette deck, because this week you can get 1 year 0% financing on home audio. Get 0% financing on a complete system, like this 260-watt Technique system with Dolby Surround Sound, dual cassette deck, carousel CD changer, and more for just $9.49. Plus, we'll include the surround sound speakers free. 1 year 0% financing on any home audio purchase of $250 or more this week at Best Buy.
With the Hardee's Kid Special, Mom and Dad can feed their 4 kids for $4. Dad can feed his son and the rest of the basketball team for $5. And Mom can feed her kid, a neighbor's kid, and a kid she doesn't even know for $3. You see, with the Hardee's Kid Special, 1 kid eats for $1. It's for parents who want to feed their kids delicious food for not a lot of money. A regular hamburger, small fries, and a kid's drink, all for $1. Hardee's Kid Special, at only $1 per kid, it's an offer too good to refuse.
Hey, you gonna eat that last fry?
It's time to prepare your vehicles for winter driving.
Mills Fleet Farm is the place to save on your automotive needs. Get started with a new battery. Choose from our wide selection for cars, trucks, tractors, and other vehicles. Bring in an old battery and save even more.
New tires will give you better traction this winter. You'll find the right tire for your vehicle at Fleet Farm.
Plus, the trained staff at our auto center can install your battery, mount your tires, and get your vehicle ready for winter.
Be prepared for winter driving. Generators, leaving town, or going to shelters. But as Bob Walters tells us tonight, others are choosing to stick it out in the somewhat chilly comfort of their own home.
Jenny Bush is using her imagination as she listens to soap operas on the radio that she'd normally watch on TV. With the warmth of a kerosene heater and a slight change in sleeping arrangements, her family is getting by.
Kind of bad, I guess. I don't like it.
How have you had to spend the last couple days to get by?
Close with my family, in front of the heater. Just sitting there playing games and reading books and doing my homework.
The buzz of generators can be heard all over town as many pump out fuel and cash, keep pipes from freezing, and stay warm. A lot of other people are going and buying generators.
It's a good question. I'm sure I'm going to wonder why we haven't in a while. Just right now, we just hate to put that money into it. For one time, we hope.
At the corner cafe, it's the normal lunchtime crowd, yet the only heat rising is from a few portable heaters and a steaming pot of coffee.
Well, we've had to make our back room a cooler and freezer by leaving the door open. And then at night, we park a van in front of it so nobody can come in. We're cooking completely with gas. We don't have a steam table, so we have to make the top of our stove a steam table.
For many people, spending another cold night at home is out of the question. Dozens of people have spent the night here at this local nursing home to stay warm. Another shelter is being set up at the American Legion. The National Guard brought in a large generator to warm things up there. Even with the threat of power being off several more days, Jenny and others roughing it aren't giving the electric company a cold shoulder. They know workers are doing all they can to get life back to normal as quick as possible. Bob Walters, News Center 6, Grand Meadow.
And shelters in Grand Meadow tonight are at the nursing home there and the American Legion Hall. Those coming to the American Legion are asked to bring their own pillows and blankets. Food will be provided. Also, Grand Meadow schools will remain closed again tomorrow.
The damage is less severe the further east you travel. In Olmsted and Dodge counties, about 1,200 customers of People's Co-op are still without power tonight. As Eric Peel tells us, crews are working feverishly to restore the electricity, but some people are getting impatient.
I always wanted to do a winter camp out, but not really in my own house. It is kind of rough, isn't it?
The last few days have been rough on William Morris. He's been using space heaters and a camping stove to stay warm. But compared to some, Morris is lucky. Crews were out on his farm repairing the lines.
Power. It just came on. Yay!
Kind of a good feeling, huh?
Yeah, I can take a bath again.
Brett Nelson isn't so lucky. His parents' house has been without power since Thursday night. While they are in Arizona basking in the sun, Brett is trying to keep the house warm with a generator.
It'd be a lot nicer to turn off the generator, but I understand they have quite a few lines down. There's not much a guy can do.
You just
kind of wait it out.
Lots of customers will have to wait it out as crews work almost around the clock to repair downed lines. People's Co-op has been flooded with phone calls from irate customers wanting to know when their power will be back on. For many, the answer is not soon enough, but Co-op officials say crews are working as fast as they can.
They're working from like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning till upwards up to 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. They got to sleep too, you know, and if they're working in hazardous conditions, and if they start getting real tired, then the level of safety diminishes for them, and they don't become that effective or efficient in their work, and something could happen.
Brandt says it will probably be midweek before power is restored to all of the Co-op's customers. Eric Peel, News Center 6, Olmsted County.
Not only did the storm cause hardships at home with the lack of electricity, it also caused a big lack of communication. The storm knocked several broadcast facilities off the air. In Mason City, KAAL-FM went off the air when its 800-foot tower collapsed under the stress of the ice and wind. The Cerro Gordo County Sheriff's Department's tower also collapsed. And in Rochester, radio station KRCH was knocked off the air Friday when part of the tower it was renting collapsed. The station was able to get back on the air this afternoon on a new tower it was in the process of building before the storm happened. And the storm, as you know, also kept TV6 off the air for about 50 hours. Power lines leading up to our transmitter were snapped Friday morning. And it wasn't until Sunday that the winds died down enough for our engineers to install a backup generator, which is now driving our transmitter. We want to thank Bob Radloff of Radloff Amusements for providing the generator, which is providing power for our transmitter.
They say necessity is the mother of invention, and this weekend has certainly proven that. In Hayward, we found a man who doesn't need a generator, wood stove, or kerosene heater to warm his house. All Jerry Nolan needs is a few minutes on his exercise bike.
Our house was cooling off, and I was sitting upstairs and just figured out that the furnace has a manual switch. All I need is a fan to blow the air around. So I brought my bicycle and wind trainer down and made a belt to hook onto the furnace fan, and we come down and pedal and warm our house up.
Nolan says he doesn't mind the work. In fact, he needs the exercise. His kids are impressed. Apparently, they're now calling their dad MacGyver.
I'm impressed too.
He is sort of like a local version of MacGyver.
Well, sure. Kind of a Mr. Fix-It.
Got everybody in the neighborhood talking and a little envious.
Yeah, that's for sure.
More to come on News Center 6 as this special hour-long newscast continues.
And when we come back, we'll have a look at how farmers are grappling with the disastrous power loss. We'll be back. A bother and an inconvenience for most area residents, but for many area farmers, it's also meant a loss of money.
Blaine Hooper tells us production on many area dairy farms has stopped because of the lack of power.
Gerald Roth's milking parlor is still dark 3 days after the power in Twin Lakes went out. The storm has virtually shut down his dairy operation.
It's been cold. It's been spending a lot of time in the barn. Basically, I almost had to spend time in the barn because I tried milking a few of my best cows by hand in order to keep them going.
Roth is losing hundreds of dollars each day. Many of these cows that are usually milked twice daily have been milked only once since the outage occurred.
There's some of the cows we didn't get milked for a couple of days, and they're not giving anything right now. They just stopped.
And although Roth has been able to milk the cows once, all of the milk that was produced had to be dumped because there was no way to refrigerate it. The storm's devastation can be seen all over his farm.
Like somebody's bombed this place. There are broken branches and limbs and small pieces, and it's just really a disaster area, not to mention the damage to the livestock. Right now you're not hearing it in the background because of the fact that the Emmons Fire Department brought some water to us yesterday. But yesterday it was just awful to just listen to the cows bawling because they wanted to be milked and they wanted water.
In spite of the water, the Roths expect to lose several head of cattle. 10% of their herd has already gone dry. But since the problem is at the substation, there's little hope of recouping their losses from insurance. However, with one of the top herds in the county, they remain optimistic. Blaine Hooper, News Center 6, Twin Lakes.
Well, milking is not the only chore that has been made difficult for farmers. For many farmers, the storm hit before they could get their crop out of the field. And those crops left will now be lost. Farm experts say the financial impact of this storm will be severe for many growers. Iowa Ag Secretary Dale Cochran says he hopes some sort of disaster assistance will be made available from the federal government.
You may not be surprised that batteries, lamp oil, and propane heaters have been in heavy demand. Hardware stores in the TV6 viewing area say they can barely keep up.
Yeah, we've been to Minneapolis, Owatonna, wherever we can find extra supplies around. Called in batteries, lamp oil, kerosene, heaters, whatever we can find.
I suppose quite a demand here.
Very much so. This morning it's just been crazy around here trying to get stuff, people coming in and buying everything that they can get a hold of.
Well, sales of portable heaters and generators are red hot. Northern in Rochester was completely sold out of heaters and generators by Friday afternoon, but a rush shipment has helped stock the shelves once again.
I think we'd all like to say, let them stay, power come on, but I believe before it's over, we will sell out of these easily because we're talking, I believe, 5 days out for some people. this is the first break we've had in 3 days. Right now it's the slowest it's been, and the phone is still ringing.
Kraus says if you buy or already have a generator, it is important to follow certain safety rules when using it, such as consulting an electrician before hooking it up to a fuse box. An improperly connected generator can send electricity back to a power line and injure workmen.
If you're at home tonight, there are some safety tips you should follow. First, if you are without power, call your utility company. Don't just assume that they know you're without electricity. And if you don't have heat, go to a friend or a neighbor's house who does. Utility officials are stressing that you not use gas appliances to heat your house. Those appliances are not meant for that job, and they could be very dangerous. And finally, if you do leave home, make sure you shut off the main water valve and drain your pipes of water. If the water freezes in the pipes, that could result in thousands of dollars of damage.
And still ahead tonight, Rob Olson will be in with a closer look at the forecast.
Is there any relief in sight? We'll find out when we come back. Rob Olson here, hopefully, to give us some words of encouragement about the rest of this week.
How are we going to make it?
It's a mixed bag. Temperatures are on the rise, but we might see some more snow. We probably will see more snow flying through the air tomorrow morning.
I understand you have a couple of school closings for tomorrow.
For tomorrow already, the lucky students in Glenville, Emmons, and Grand Meadow, stay in, get some movies, sleep, whatever you want to do. No school for you tomorrow.
Can't get some movies. You won't be able to run those
no
movies.
electricity, that's true.
That's right.
Just make them up then.
Okay.
Write some stories of your own.
Exactly, that's the way to do it. So anyway, more snow on the rise. We'll tell you about that in a second. First, let's check out the good old current conditions in the area in front of the nice frosty tree we see there. Skies mostly cloudy tonight. Look for clouds to increase tonight. Winds from the southwest at 8 miles an hour. Humidity 88%. And the barometer falling at 30.20. After a low of 0 today, the big goose egg. Austin hit 16 this afternoon. 16 also for Albert Lee and Rochester, and a balmy 20 down in Mason City. Looking at highs across the nation. Well, we had expected 20s across most of Minnesota and northern Iowa, 30s down in southern Minnesota. Didn't quite make it there. Fell short of that. Temperatures will be on the rise tonight. In contrast, check out the nice balmy temperatures. We like to be in Southern California right now. 80s, move up the coast to the 70s and 60s. Not bad. A lot warmer than what we have right now. It's currently 14 in Rochester, 15 in Austin, 19 in Mason City, 14 degrees in Albert Lee, and wind chills right around that 0 degree mark. So watch out. Waltham phoning in with 15. Bill in Iota at 12. 10 degrees warmer in New Richland at 22 degrees. Looking across Iowa and Minnesota, still in the mid-20s down in Ottumwa and Des Moines as we move on up to Twin Cities at 14, and a cool 8 degrees in International Falls with a -1 wind chill way up in the Northlands. Temperatures will be on the rise tonight with a warm front coming through. In addition to that, also clouds on the rise. Look for the clouds to continue to build up over the night as that warm front passes through us. Also look for more cold air that's combating that warm front. The jet stream forming a nice little trough here down towards the east that's been pulling that Arctic air right through the Midwest. That's what we've seen the last couple of days. And that combined with moisture from the Gulf and that low pressure from Colorado is what gave us this big, nasty megastorm of 1991. Cold temperatures still in the forecast, and snow on the way. Low pressure over southern Saskatchewan right now. A warm front ahead of it, a cold front behind it, snow all along it. That is on its way toward us. By tomorrow morning, that warm front will have passed through us. That's why temperatures will oddly rise during the night, bringing us some snow in the morning. By tomorrow night, then, the cold front will make its way through. Most of the snow that we'll see is expected in the morning, maybe a few more flurries in the afternoon as that comes through. Most of the snow, though, expected in northern Minnesota. That's where the heaviest flurries of snowfall will be. But we in southern Minnesota and northern Iowa will see some of that light stuff flying as well. Temperatures in the lower 30s. So here's your forecast to check it all out. Looking for the temperature actually to rise into the lower 20s right around midnight from the current temperature of 14. And then snow developing after midnight towards dawn. Cloudy skies and winds in the southeast, 10 to 15 miles an hour. There's those big snow flurries in the morning. Expecting 1 to 3 inches developing from that. High tomorrow in the lower 30s. Winds from the south at 10 to 15 miles an hour. The good news is that's it. The extended forecast Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, no snow expected. A cool one on Wednesday, and the upper teens continuing up to 30 on Thursday, the lower 30s on Friday. So, yes, relief is on the way.
Okay, but maybe not too much opportunity for all this ice to melt, it looks like.
No, not in the near future anymore.